I just wanted to talk for a couple minutes. I'm really gonna miss him. I loved him a lot. He was just a good man. And but I loved him for many reasons. He's the type of guy that you could talk football. You could talk, you can go in depth in sports, but you could also go in depth in politics, and you could go in depth about Star Wars, and you could go in depth about Star Trek. It was so funny. For a couple days after he passed, I mean, sorry if this offends you, but I just found myself, I was like, damn it, Jim. But I'm like, he's going to laugh at this. So it was funny. So it's a Star Trek thing. You got to be a Star Trek fan in order to.
Damn it, Jim, I'm just a doctor.
But, yeah, you could talk politics. You could talk, I got in some amazing conversations about the Bible and about Jesus and prayer. Don't walk with this thing. I got in some wonderful conversations with him about God and the Bible, and he was just such an amazing man to talk to, and I'm just gonna miss him on so many levels. But I remember when I first met Jim. This is funny, and I know other people are gonna share, and you got some funny stories, but I fell in love with the guy before I even knew him. He was just a good man. And my mom had emailed me. I was a missionary in Mongolia. And my mom had emailed me, and she told me that she met a man. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And she told me about Jim, and I really wanted to meet him. And Jim was so awesome. He said, I want you, Suzanne, to go to Mongolia because I think you need to spend time with your son, and you need to tell her what's going on in our relationship firsthand, not from an email, not from a phone call. And so he paid for my mom to go to Mongolia and to spend 2 weeks with me out there. And she just got to talk about their relationship, and I was just blown away. And I'm like, this guy is a keeper. Like, this is a good man. And I just knew that I was going to love him as soon as I came home. And so I come home a couple months later, and my mom and Jim are driving to LA to come pick me up from the airport. And it was warm, it was super hot, so they started eating some chocolate ice cream. And they were just munching away on their chocolate ice cream, and all of a sudden the chocolate starts falling into Jim's lap. And he has white pants on. And so I've never met him before, and all of a sudden Jim and my mom show up to pick me up, and he doesn't even skip a beat. He's just like, his lap is just covered in chocolate, and it doesn't look like chocolate. But he just figures, he's like, I'm just going to go with this. And so he's like, Jim Crawford here, and he's like, how you doing? And he's like, sorry, I had a little accident. I was just rolling. I was cracking up. And I just loved him instantly. I'm like, I just like you. Like, you're so he was so easy just to talk to, and so easy, it was just to joke around. All of his funny little one-liners, I'll just take on with me forever. And go ahead. Do you ever do that? Go ahead. He had so many funny one-liners that I just loved him. And I remember too, I'm trying to, there's so many, like over the last 2 weeks, I've just been thinking about so many memories and so many things over the last 14 years. And I know, like Danny and many of you in the room, you've been with him much longer than that. So I'm sure you're having an even more difficult time to process and think about all the memories. But I remember after I first met him, we drove back to Bishop, and I was at my mom and Jim's house, and Jim, we're having a conversation, and Jim starts talking to me about one of my favorite books. And he knew everything about this book, and it's a 360-page book. And I'm like, how do you know about this book? And he's like, I read it, and I read it cover to cover. And I'm like, wow. And he read it because he knew it was my favorite book. And he just wanted to have something to talk to me about. And I just it just hit my heart. I'm like, wow, this is a guy that goes above and beyond to love people, to show people that you're important to him. And it just like, that was just the beginning. I'm like, man, this is a good man right here. And he loved my mom well. He loved his family well. He loved my children well. Like my little Gia just loved Grandpa Jim so much. And just when I had to break the news to her, she just said, I was dreading it because she just loved Grandpa Jim, and she got sad, and she had some pretty profound questions for a 4-year-old. But then she just said, I'm really going to miss Grandpa Jim. I loved him. But you know what? I'll see him again. And he's in heaven with Jesus. And I just said, that's right, honey, he is. And it was just so awesome. Out of the mouths of little children, comes truth. And he is. When we close our eyes and on this side of heaven, our spiritual eyes are open to a new reality. This is all we know, and so it's so painful when we lose this. But this is not it. And from so many conversations I had with Jim, he loved the Lord. He loved the Vikings. He loved a lot of things. He just loved life. He loved life. But he did love the Lord. And so when his eyes closed on this side of heaven, they opened in a new reality. And he is with his mother and father. He is with Jesus. He is a happy camper right now. He is doing wonderful. But he did. He loved my kids. My daughter, a couple of years ago, for those of you who don't know, she had cancer, and she was just going through the worst time in her life, and we as a family were going through the worst time in our life. And here's Jim, like he and my mom, they put on 2 fundraisers. One here, I think it was in this room, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then one in Bishop, and they raised like a ton of money. And they didn't have to do this, and Jim didn't have to do this, and he didn't have to do his karaoke, and he didn't have to do all the fun stuff that he did, but they did. And he raised a bunch of money just for my daughter, and it just spoke volumes to me. And then they came out to see us, and then there was there was a football poll going on, and he won, and he won $1,000. And he said, "This is for Gia." He just gave it instantly to us. And all these stories, it's just like so many things just continually remind me of he was the kind of person that was just constantly going above and beyond, going beyond himself. Even when he was sick in this last year of his life, he wanted to make sure that my mom would not be burdened down and bogged down by a bunch of stuff. And so